This is a video on how to change out the motor mount on your 2005 to 2007 Ford Focus.
Here are the tools you'll need for this job. I used a 3/8 inch drive ratchet. Found use from a short extension. You'll definitely need a long extension. I also found use from a flathead screwdriver. You'll certainly need a 19mm deep socket, a 15mm socket, doesn't have to be deep, a 10mm deep socket. You might also need a 8mm 12-point socket and a 19mm wrench. You also have to have either an engine hoist or a car jack. If you want to do everything perfectly right, you'll want a torque wrench.
Use your 10mm socket and ratchet to remove the coolant expansion tank. And you'll need a screwdriver back here. Fire that bottle up. Move these two lines and bend that out of the way. Once you have the expansion tank out of the way, you can use your 10mm socket and ratchet to move this alternator wiring harness out of the way. And I'm going to use a screwdriver just to lift this up. We can push that out of the way. Now before I take the mount off, I need to take some weight off of it, and I'm going to use an engine hoist connected to the lifting eye on the engine, but you can also use a jack with a block of wood on it and lift up on the oil pan, and the block of wood will help distribute the force so that you don't punch a hole through your oil pan. I'm going to lift the engine up just a little bit to take some of the weight off of the mount so I can work with it. Now, using my 15mm socket and a long extension, I can take out the 3 bolts that mount the mount to the frame of the car. Once you get the 3 15mm bolts out, you'll need to get the 2 19mm nuts that hold the engine to the mount off. And these are on there pretty tight. I already loosened this one. Tight they are. Looks like the stud actually came with this one, which is okay. Don't worry about that. And once that's out, you should just be able to pull them out right out of here. There you go. Now if the stud comes out with the nut, just put a 19mm wrench on the nut and get yourself an 8mm 12-point socket and turn it to forward and just back the nut off of the stud. Ta-da! So while the camera was off, I put this stud back in. So now it's time to put the new part in. I'm just going to fish it on in here. Around. Get it situated on here. So with the new part in, I'm just going to put these nuts on fairly loose, just so that it holds the motor mount while I tighten it down. So I've lined up the motor mount with the holes in the frame. I'm just going to put some blue thread locker on these bolts just to be sure that they don't ever come loose. Of course, blue thread locker comes in a red tube. And I'm just going to hand thread them in. I'll do the same for the other side. Spilled a little on my headlight here. And I'll get my ratchet. Just a little bit. Doing everything loose right now. Got one more bolt. Some blue thread locker. And I'll put that one in too. Again, just gonna get these moderately tight. So now that we have everything very lightly torqued, we're going to go through, we're going to do our final torque down. These motor mount nuts get torqued to 66 pound-feet. I'm going to do that in 2 stages. Okay. Okay. And these bracket bolts get torqued to 35 pound-feet. And again, I will do these in 2 stages. When using a torque wrench, you want to minimize your use of extensions, but unfortunately here we don't really have a choice. So I removed the engine hoist, and now it's just a matter of putting everything back where it was. Have our alternator wiring harness. Put that back on, a 10mm nut. We'll make that just tight enough. And put our coolant recovery bottle back. Snap these lines in. Put that on. Get our 10mm nut. Tighten that down just enough. And that is how you do a motor mount change on a 2005 to 2007 Ford Focus with the Duratec engine.